I know it's end
Namaste,
of the
sir.
week. So let me try to. Should we wait for a couple of minutes? It's
Yeah, yeah.
4:58.
Rahul, just a couple of
Let's
minutes
wait.
and then,
Let,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And let me know if my screen is visible. Can I test that first?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Okay. Let me test that. Is it visible?
Yeah, clearly.
Visible. Prakriti Integral Education, right? Yeah.
Hanji, very
Okay.
clearly.
ठीक है, ठीक है. So let me now. I'll come back on so that I can greet everyone else, and then we'll do this. Okay. So how many people are joining us today?
We'll have about more than 100 people. Right now, we have about 61.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is Delhi? Delhi's cold?
It is quite cold. Generally, after Lori, it's supposed to be better, but this time the whole cycle has shifted. The weather cycle has shifted, so it gets cold now after 15th, and the entire north is facing this. It hasn't snowed yet in Gulmarg, which is the first sign of winters generally. Hmm.
Acha, so you're saying winters are going to be और खींचेंगे?
Ha, the winters will go on till 28th Feb.
हाँ.
And yeah, the extreme winters start only 15 Jan now. So now it's a time, the typical what used to happen in Delhi, 4-5 degrees. Now we observe that in the morning. And now schools have opened. So now you can imagine. So children do come in, although schools like ours have relaxed the timings and we start at 9:30 instead of 8:30.
Okay.
Okay. So let me know whenever you would like me to start.
Swarali, should we begin?
Yes, sir, we can. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll give a quick brief, Rahul, and then maybe you
Sure.
can
Sure.
take
Sure.
over.
Sure. Sure.
So Jai Hind, everybody. Today, a very dear friend, Rahul from the Prakriti School in Delhi, Noida. He's joining us. He's an absolute champion and a pure educator at heart. Very few, very rarely we find one. And today you will have, 1 hour with him. I remember my time with him on the Hakuba trip in Japan, and we had some very, very interesting conversations. So much to learn from him on those 3 to 4 days, and I could not wait for having him talk to all of you here, because I'm sure some of the ideas that he'll share will really, really resonate with you. So over to you, Rahul, and looking forward to an engaging session.
Thank you. Thank you, Siddharth. Actually, pleasure was all mine to interact with Siddharth. Seeing a young founder still so passionate and single-minded focus on school growth. Really enjoyed my time with him, and also heard fantastic stories about your schools, about DPS Varanasi, Hinjewadi, and these are two schools now today who are in this call.
We have DPS Varanasi, DPS Hinjewadi, DPS Nashik, and DPS
Nashik
Lava
also.
Nagpur.
Wow. So I heard about how these schools came together, and trust me, it is not easy to start schools from scratch and bring them at the level that you are at. You all must be doing a fantastic job, because a school is actually created by the ecosystem of educators and trusting community. So hats off to all of you for that. So, thank you for inviting me today. As you are under mentorship of Siddharth and Gautam, I don't think you need any tutelage on curriculum or pedagogy. But let me share some other thoughts in terms of the education philosophy that exists out there. That's something that we believe in, and if you resonate with that, let me know. So Prakriti was started about 14 years ago with a belief that the purpose of education is to discover the inner swabhav. Okay, we all have an inner disposition. We are after all traveling souls, and if the child can be put in touch with the inner swabhav, our job as educator is done. Now, where is this thought? Where did this thought come in? It came in because we all ended up. I mean, as a parent, I ended up going to educating my children to in a school called Mirambika, which is a free progress school established under Sri Aurobindo Ashram in Delhi. So it's a in that free progress school. It is basically about small classrooms and a teacher. The entire focus is on hands-on learning, compassion, social emotional learning, and essentially listening to the child. So as a parent, I grew with that philosophy. And when the chance came in to start our own school in Noida, we decided that there is no other path for us but just the path of integral education guided by Sri Aurobindo. So let me tell you what I really mean by integral education, and so we can probably take your questions after I finish. I'll just start the presentation. That. Let me know. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah. Are you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, clearly.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Rali, you can help Rahul wherever he
Yeah.
needs. Yeah?
At the end of the day, what is a relationship, between an adult and a child, teacher and a child, or a parent and a child built on? I mean, if you reflect, it's on four fundamental things: trust, right? And trust comes from past experiences, right? Faith, and faith is a blind faith. I mean, faith is that it's unconditional, right? It's almost like a divine faith, right? Compassion or karuna, as we understand. Compassion does not have again. Compassion is unconditional kindness, and the fourth, which is most important, is creative interaction. So you you really cannot have a great relationship with a partner, with a parent, with a child, or as a teacher and a child, if any of these is missing, right? So that's the fundamental premise of relationship between a teacher and a student. What Sri Aurobindo has told us is that aim of education should be to help the growing soul to draw out that in itself which is best and make it perfect for a noble use. Now, the whole purpose in Sri Aurobindo's framework is on perfecting the instruments of knowledge. Okay, the instrument is the body, instrument is the mind, right? Instrument is the heart, instrument is our psychic, our connection. But the thing is that the soul is it has essentially the evolution that the journey it's on. And what we need to do as educators is to help the children draw out something in themselves, which is everybody is born with the heroic qualities. Everybody is born with some inherent knowledge. We need to draw that out and put it to a noble use. So that with that, I start on something that Sri Aurobindo called as three principles of true teaching. So what is really true teaching all about? And what he said was, number one, nothing can be taught. Okay. Number two, mind must be consulted in its own growth. And three is from near to far. Education has to go from near to far. Now, what do all these big statements mean? Okay. Essentially, the first statement, nothing can be taught, then what are we doing? What are schools for? What are teachers doing? Right? Was Was it a different world out there when Sri Aurobindo coined these things? Do you know about him, or should I just give you background? Sri Aurobindo was basically, entirely Cambridge-educated gentleman who arrived in India in his 18 or 20, after doing his masters, and when he came back to India, he knew no Indian language, and he basically started practicing in Indore and in Calcutta as a lawyer. And his mind suddenly, went on to the condition of our freedom movement and the peasants and all of that. So he jumped into the fray, into the freedom movement, and then when he was jailed, he realized that the better way for him to contribute to the freedom movement is going to be by writing. And so in his jail term, he wrote books like Human Evolution, The Life Divine, and so on and so forth. He has divine realization within the prison. And then he came out, he set up his ashram at Pondicherry, and he and mother contributed the greatest deal, I would say, in India to the field of education. The spiritual leaders, Mother Meera and Sri Aurobindo, are seen to be, almost, having done far greater work than any progressive educator in the world. So absolutely, I think as educators, if you can read a lot about his work, will be great. But here I can give you some snapshot of what he believed in. So what he really meant by way of nothing can be taught is that a teacher is not an instructor or a taskmaster. He or she is a helper and a guide. Okay, his business is to suggest and not to impose. He does not really train the pupil's mind. Okay, he only shows him on how to perfect the instruments of knowledge and encourages him in the process. Many times we feel that this is probably true only of adolescent students or students in the classes 9 to 12 or whatever, that we can let them be, self-directed, we are guiding them. But it is true for elementary level as well. I mean, even at elementary level, even at primary level, you cannot assume that I have to impart knowledge. You're only helping the child co-construct the knowledge. You're only interfering in their world or scaffolding their world, giving them something that's innate in them. It also means that a child is, after all, a human soul evolving, right? And he's evolved over various births. He has some latent knowledge, and maybe you just need to bring those to surface. After all the rishis of India who actually discovered so much around mathematics or astronomy or something, nobody taught them. They could only bring this to fore with the strength of their practice. And hence the role of a teacher is to bring that knowledge to surface, which is already innate in you, innate in the child. So the teacher calls forth, he does not calls forth the knowledge that's within. He only shows the child where it lies and how it can be habituated to rise to the surface. The knowledge is there. Come, let me show you, where you find it, how do you bring it, how do you apply it. It also goes back to, our thought about ourselves as the I am the doer, right? And I'm the teacher. But here, what you can say is you can distance yourself from that I and say, it's all the child's work. I'm only the instrument of, I'm only the channel, which is helping him perfect that instrument. So, so as I said, adolescent or child, this doctrine remains the same. The second principle, the mind must be consulted in its own growth. So, so this basically takes root in the fact that the child cannot be hammered into a shape desired by a parent or a teacher, right? Doing that is barbarous, is actually ignorant, superstition, right? It's a child himself or herself who must be induced to expand in accordance with his own nature. Everybody has an innate nature, right? For a child whose Anandamaya Kosh is very, very high, who's very joyous from within, who loves to be in the wild, who loves to be in the nature, you cannot really force him to study, 6 to 10 hours a day without catering to his needs. Children have their needs, right? And each child has a mind of his own. So that mind needs to be consulted. Whenever you create a program, whenever you think of pedagogy, it has to be keeping the needs of the child in mind. There can be no greater error than for the parent to kind of arrange beforehand that his son or daughter shall develop particular capacities, particular ideas, virtues, or be prepared, or can be prepared to be in a career in study.
Prakash, mute करिए.
हो गया. Yeah. So, so it is pretty much, against the dharma of the child, and it can actually create permanent harm if you mold that, if you try to mold the child into the frame that you have, right? It will mutilate its growth and it will deface its perfection. It is tyrannical. So one thing that you must one thing that Sri Aurobindo really believed in is that this is our world. That I want the child to do this. I want him to solve so much. I want him to do this. This is your world. Have you consulted the child, right? In the growth. So education has to move from content-based to development-based. You have to study the development of particular child or children and see whether the programs that you have, what you're bringing to the class is actually contributing to his development, is going against it. The third principle is from near to far. Now, what it means is that everybody has again the concept of soul. The soul has preordained knowledge. It also has come from his environment, his the surrounding, the kind of I would say also the experiences that the child has gone into early years. When you plan education, it has to be going from first the nearby surroundings to abstract. Okay, we must not take up the nature by the roots. Because for the plant to really grow, he needs to cling to the root. Okay, and the same is true of the child's mind, that must grow or surround it with images and ideas of life, which is, it can't be alien to the world that it can't physically move in. So if something has to be brought from outside, right, it must be offered and not forced on the mind. So when you're bringing in a concept and when you're bringing in, any abstract idea, say even the universe, I always tell teachers that before you teach universe, or space, have you ever thought of teaching the child what is his immediate surrounding and space like? How is that orderly? Or how does a building space around him work? How does a neighborhood work? So many a times we have encyclopedias and planetary concepts coming up in grade 2, grade 3. It doesn't do any good until the child does not know his immediate surroundings. So let them be free to follow their bent. If you offer something alien, the majority will only languish. It'll become artificial. It is God's arrangement for mankind that they should belong to a particular nation, age, society, and because children are, they are the children of past. They are the possessors of present, and they're the creators of future. And past is their foundation. You cannot belie past. So if the child has, if the child has come to you, right, from a particular background and has entered to you a little late, let's say, comes to you in grade 4, grade 5, you can't suddenly, introduce something so abstract without taking into consideration what his prior education experience is, right? So what is true of us as teachers or adults is true of the children. So going from concrete to abstract is what is needed. When we are doing the concepts of counting numbers, when we are doing the concepts of even algebra or whatever, offering an understanding of offering the same understanding in concrete so that the child can relate to it is extremely important. So essentially, these were the three basic principles of Sri Aurobindo. They all form the basis of his approach to education called integral education. Integral education is nothing but growth of physical, mental, vital, and psychic. Now, physical and mental, all of us teachers know very well about. All our efforts are on perfecting the instrument of body and are on perfecting the mind. But what we don't sometimes pay attention to is vital and psychic. Vital is basically the seat of emotions and ego and feelings inside the body. It can be a hero, if fed very well.
Rahul
Or
bhai, you are on the same slide, right? You're not showing
yeah,
any
yeah,
other
yeah,
slide.
yeah. I'm still there. Vital is the seat of emotions and ego and everything, and it can be it's important to keep that in mind. That how do I educate the vital? I've educated the mind. How do I educate the vital? And also psychic. Psychic is the connection that a soul has with the divine, which as teachers we first need to perfect ours. Only then we can actually get to know develop our learner psychic. So hence, what is, if all this is what Sri Aurobindo has said, what in concrete terms is our role as teachers? So the role of a teacher is essentially to create a classroom space that is full of compassion, and compassion means your individual relationship with the child. Second is stimulating inquiry, an inquiry. Why inquiry? Because inquiry is the basis for making thinking visible. Inquiry is about relatability of what you are teaching. Hands-on learning because the body and the mind has to be in tandem. So what you're teaching, you must be able to build or you must be able to move. Sometimes classes don't have hands-on, and that's fine. But have you built in movement in your pedagogy? Social learning. Essentially, schools are spaces for social learning. Otherwise, as we know, I mean, AI can give all kinds of learning today. Why should a child come to school? Comes to school because that social learning is nowhere replaceable. He comes to school because in you, he finds a compassionate adult. He comes to school because he faces challenging inquiry. Finally, the teachers who are teaching in the class, they need to continue to build reinforcement strategies. It's not enough to just do concepts and move. Child learns by repetition, right? So learning, repeating, reinforcement by way of whatever strategy, whatever tools you have is extremely important. Sometimes you consolidate knowledge. Sometimes you have projects to do. So any of these strategies would be used for reinforcement. And in all this, having some kind of student agency, because remember, what did we talk about? We talked about creative interaction. How does a creative interaction is happening in the class, but how does a creative interaction happen? When the child also has a role to play in choosing what they can do. So student agency is extremely important as well. So, I mean, what I've told you is the holy grail. I can't tell you that even in my own classes when I teach, I'm able to practice everything, right? But I try to keep this in mind, and am I creating a space for peer learning? Do I have enough student agency built in, or am I just doling the projects out without taking into account what their interests and initiatives are, or without asking them? So something I would say is the role of teachers. Now, especially when we are, when we are going through the fast-changing world, where information is everywhere. So, another quote I would like to read, and then I will summarize Sri Aurobindo's work. Essentially, whatever work we are doing as teachers, we are working on mental nature. We cannot distance, or we cannot build mental work, divorcing it from perfection of the moral. Moral is basically the connection, the psychic between psychic is the or moral is the connection between the individual soul and divine consciousness, and emotional nature. Emotional nature is basically the vital that I spoke to you about. So both vital and psychic are also important to have purposeful education, is what Sri Aurobindo laid finally as his philosophy. Now, I think this is one part of my of the ideas I want to give you. That's the underlying philosophy that has guided us as a school. It has worked well because it finds its traces in a lot of things that we do. The way we plan our lessons, the way we assess our children, the way we create our time plan with them. Everything gets guided by the framework of physical, mental, vital, and psychic. And even when we are reporting, the at the end of the year, when we are reporting on a child, we follow this frame. How is the child sensorially? How is the child? How is he able to regulate his emotions? How's is the child mentally, in terms of cognitive balance or whatever? We report that, and then we also do things like, what is his relationship with beauty? What's his, is he able to kind of elevate the class narrative or no? So I think at this point, I thought I will show you some work of Prakriti children and teachers so that you're able to put things together. One of the things I wanted let's start with the early years, and these are short videos. I would like you to see some of them and observe, and then ask me if you have any questions. So in our elementary years, there's a lot of focus on free movement. And why that? Let me just take you through that. Each of these videos have something that either a teacher or parent is talking about. Are you able to hear?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Is there something to share volume? Let me just look at that. You couldn't
You
hear
might
anything?
have to share your full screen if you are sharing volume.
Acha.
You need to stop sharing and then share your full screen probably.
Acha. Let me just do that. Also share device audio. Okay. Okay, let me know now. If is it, I'll just share.
Rahul, your screen is not visible now.
Okay, I'm sharing. Is it visible now?
Not
No.
yet.
Now?
No, I think you need to share again. Yes, screen is visible now.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, clearly.
Siddharth, is it visible now?
Yes, yes, clearly.
Yeah? Okay.
If
Can you hear the voice? No?
no, 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 no. It's okay. You can talk about it, Rahul. No problem.
Can you hear?
No,
Sorry, can you hear this?
no, can't hear this. Rahul, you can talk about it since it's we cannot hear the audio. You can talk about it maybe.
Voice is very low actually.
Acha, can you hear Swarali?
Not properly.
Yes, a
Oh, okay,
little.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe increase volume, Rahul, if possible. अच्छा उनको सुनाई दे रहा होगा probably. Rahul, are you there?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. वो वीडियो जो था राहुल उसका ऑडियो बहुत
Can you
अच्छे
hear
से
me?
नहीं आया. It was very low.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, what you just saw is essentially a project in history. This was grade 8. So essentially, this was a project on, Indian heritage. What has India given to the rest of the world? Okay. So essentially, there's nothing like it today in NCRT or something. What the teacher does is she connects that what is it that is a need of my child, right? What because she wants to go from near to far. She's saying there is no point me teaching them World War or whatever is happening around the world without them being proud of their own heritage. Okay, so she brings in elements around what have our empires or our saints or our initial years given to the rest of the world by way of say medicine, by way of music, by way of temple art, by way of naval base or naval technology, all of that. Then the child takes on as a creative project. As I said, creative interaction is the focus. It is then displayed in a gallery. I mean, this is a month of work and displayed in a gallery, and then everybody, all other adults in the school and the parents interact with the child. So the project is then done not just to kind of communicate what is there in the books. It is to create new knowledge. Okay, a knowledge that even the teacher discovers with the child. So here teacher is a learner too, right? Every time you get into a sciences or a social sciences classroom, you kind of almost assume that you are likely to learn something new with your children, right? So all of this culminates into a beautiful project, and in this case, it became the gift of Indian heritage to the rest of the world. Let me show you some others. In the primary classrooms, we have
Sir,
this
please
tradition
share
of
your screen. We cannot.
of organizing celebrations of learning. So every term, whatever the
Rahul
children
sir,
learn, that is presented in an interdisciplinary way, so that their movement, their concept knowledge, their creativity, guided by their teachers, all come to the fore, and and that then becomes, it's not a performative event. It is something that is a
Rahul
deeply
bhai,
engaging and moving event.
Rahul bhai.
So let me show that also, and let me know
sir,
what
your
you
screen
think.
is not visible, sir. Please share your screen.
Sir Ali, he was not showing his screen abhi tak.
Yeah, I was trying to reach.
नहीं वो दिखाना नहीं चाह रहे थे. That is what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Today I'm at the presentation of learning. All of the kids did a fantastic job. It started with a mime introduction with a beautiful play on today's pollution and the issues with development and greening. The children did a great job. They sang a carol, they sang a mantra, and then went on to presenting the learning that they have done over the last 6 to 8 months on English, Hindi, EVS, and a number of games based on what they've studied. It's definitely confidence in their own work, confidence in their peers' work, as showing the knowledge that they have gained. In fact, even being able to talk to adults about it and countering their view that no, it's not like this, it's this way, and this is what it means. Is very good because that shows a lot of confidence in their own learning. So I've noticed Dia has definitely become more confident in front of a large audience. I felt she used to be a bit within herself, especially when standing in front of an audience and speaking, which she did today. It was quite heartwarming.
One thing that is an ingredient for a healthy childhood is for children to have a space where they can live their freedom. And that is where I believe there was a spark in most of the children's eyes, because they were getting engaged with something they like.
My project was about fashion design and kalamkari. I got inspired by my aunt, who is also a fashion designer. My project was about art inspired by nature or environmental art. I like nature, but I also like art a lot. And I didn't know what to choose, so I just mixed them up to make this.
For my personal project, I worked on an alarm system that detects humans and animals. The other thing I would love to pay attention to is like how much does everything cost together. Because this time the project was a little expensive because I failed twice and that was very expensive.
They can articulate themselves very, very well. It's very open kind of environment. There is no they can experiment, they can be free. So that's the thing I like the most.
So I think in the last two examples, you saw that there are two things I would like to tell you about. One of the practices for creative interaction that we do is a practice of personal projects. It's a hugely successful idea. I mean, I think I'd encourage all schools to implement it if they can. It's essentially letting the child choose their own project. Do it over summer if you can. We don't have to get involved as adults at all. We only mentor them in terms of their, sharpening their idea and letting them play with it. Even if it's about building a pizza oven or learning cricket or about a composition or about, so the last one that you saw, children build their own projects. Children from grade 4 to grade 9, we give them that space that you build their projects. And over 3 months, the only rule is that you cannot present a PowerPoint. You can only, you have to build a product. You have to demonstrate the skill that can be transferred. So they bring it out there, parents come and see it. And that's the best, I think over and above any curriculum projects, I feel personal projects or passion projects, have far-reaching implications to bring out the strengths in a child that otherwise we are not able to see. So that's one thing. And before that, one of the presentations you saw was about a teacher building in basic skills of poetry in a grade 5 classroom. So what does she do? She starts with reading the poem. Of course, the usual analysis and language analysis and everything happens, but then she does not leave it there. She goes on to create visualizations. She goes on to build further, constructions from the children. She introduces, a new poet, who's fairly new to the children, like Sarojini Naidu in that case. Now she realizes that Sarojini Naidu is not someone who's known to children. So she actually builds her biography in the classroom. She introduces her region where she was born. She creates this familiarity with Andhra Pradesh. She does everything out there that's required to empathize with Sarojini Naidu's context. And then children go on and keep building. They get so inspired. And they already have the poetic devices built in alongside. They start creating their own narrative. So what she results in within a month's time is a booklet of compositions of her own class in which each child contributes. No child is left behind. So this is really making thinking visible, making learning visible, a project that, that has strings of activities. Everything is kind of making sense to the curriculum. Nothing is divorced to it. But at the end of the day, there is a creative outcome as well. That is with the child, with the parents, a legacy of the school, right? So that's another example I wanted to give you. The final bit. So we went through some examples on how to nurture passion. I mean, these are all examples I'm giving you by way of, to kind of exemplify here what creative interaction could look like. But as I told you, one of the key focus in integral education is educating the vital. Now, what do we really mean? So in our schools, we follow social emotional learning curriculum really well. We spend a lot of time on having the bubble time with a child. Bubble time is the individual space that the teacher has with the student to get to know their world, his or her own world, right? And then she spends time with the group, small group and the large group in a circle, to kind of build certain strategies of strength with the children, whether it is about, in an adult classroom, it could be about recognizing that vape is catching up. People around us are indulging in vape. In a younger classroom, it could be about awareness of your body, about awareness of your emotions, understanding how anxiety catches up when there is an exam. So let me show you what our teachers do here, and perhaps something we can talk about on as well.
So if we have to talk about social emotional learning, we have to first be clear about our vision of education. Education is what you embody. Education is not merely accumulated knowledge. We look at SEL or social and emotional learning. It is a part of everything that we do. So this is the attempt, this is the aspiration, and although we have several tools through which we explore SEL, such as bubble time, circle time, these are not exclusive things. For the flowering of that individual, it can only happen when there is a genuine relationship, and to form that relationship on the basis of trust. And this is also an opportunity for the educator to also learn about himself or herself too.
I think last, are you able to hear me? Last,
Yes.
I would just like to tell you that one of the most important things is, making a child feel comfortable in whichever state he or she is in. If the child feels he's complete, all well-being is taken care of, right? So one of the things that really affect us are comparisons and grades, right? So individual stress always builds up during exams, and there is nothing more deprecating than a child hearing that how he has done and how he's being compared with the rest of the class. So one of the things that we have come up with is to reinforce that you have only to compete with yourself and nobody else. We actually take a child through and parent through personal learning journey. In a personal learning journey, one has to, at the beginning of the year, agree on the areas that you want to work on, agree on the habits you wish to develop, agree with the parent and the teacher on what your personal benchmarks are, if it's academics, if it's sports. In academics, you have to write your own personal goals. What is it that you wish to score? And your wish is not to be guided by the crowd, the classroom. It has to be what can you really score and what can you put efforts in. And once you write that, you also write for that, what are you planning to do? What are you going to change in your screen time? What are you going to change in your healthy eating habits? What are you going to change in your hours that you give, or the gaming time that you can sacrifice? So personal learning journey is actually a statement of intent that a child writes in the beginning of the year. Then he reviews it every 3 months. After every assessment, that PLJ is reviewed and the child gets the opportunity to revise that. When the scores are inputted in, the child has nothing but he just compares what was my benchmark to where I am, and what happened. So it's a reflective journey. So a lot of reflection is written by the child. What happened? How did I make sure that I actually did 80%, 120% of what I actually set out to do? Or why is it that I aimed for 70 and I've only got a 50, right? Nothing is right or wrong. We encourage children to be writing 50, 60, 70, 40, whatever that is. It just has to have their own benchmarks and their own history, right? It doesn't have to follow our world, what we believe in, the usual 80s and 90s. So I think that's basically something that I think we should look at doing. I mean, personal learning journey is an excellent tool. Let me show you couple of other final things, and then I'll be open to your questions. This is the form. I mean, just to show you how this form works. Yeah. And after that, just to conclude, we basically said, just to summarize, teachers are facilitators, not taskmasters. Purpose is to discover one's own prakriti or sabhav, and it's for us too. It's not just for the children. We are in this. We are teachers because we have chosen this profession for our inner growth, not as a social service. So we have to discover our own prakriti through this process. One must recognize everyone, including adults, as learners, because we are co-creating knowledge. There is a lot of new knowledge to be created with our learners, and we are learning too in that process. Finally, if we can all set our own goals and compete with ourselves and give our learners the autonomy to set their own benchmarks, I think we've done our job. I mean, we have basically enabled our self-growth for ourselves as well as our learners. And the point on educating the vital and social emotional learning is, if we can emphasize to our learners that happiness does not depend on things that can be purchased or have utilitarian value, but if it is about feeling complete. Essentially, the message, if you can give them almost every morning that you are complete, right? Cracks appear, but let's notice those cracks. I mean, we are complete overall. Reminding yourself, how can you, alongside whatever you're doing, even if you're in a math classroom, how do you educate bhav, emotions, sanskars, habits, and swabhav? So reminding yourself on that, if I'm teaching something, how do I keep this in mind, and what do I do about educating this? The last one is about, do we really believe in preaching religious living? I don't think so. It's about showing, it's about doing, it's about creating practices and exercises within the school rather than going after the deity worshipping or something. In simple ways, you can role model, you can do things that help your children relate with psychic consciousness or divine consciousness. So I think that's what it is from my side. I'll open myself for some questions, and please feel free.
Yes, teachers, please feel free to ask your questions to sir. Whatever question or your takeaways from this session.
I can't hear you. Somebody whose name is PD Cell. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Swarali, sir.
No, Swarali, is that you?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I can't hear you. Is it?
Okay, is that with everyone? Am I audible?
Is there something because I?
No, you are audible.
You are audible.
Yeah, I think it's my voice problem.
Just please ask your question to sir.
iPad speaker.
May I
You
ask?
can't ask no because he will not be able to hear us. He's
No,
not
he'll
able
not
to
able
hear.
to hear me only.
Is
It's-
it that way?
Can you say that again?
Yes, Gitanjali ma'am, please ask your
So-
question.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir, you told us, right, that practice of personal project we can ask. So, can you elaborate this point?
Personal projects? So
Yes, sir.
personal projects are passion projects. Basically what we do is, we tell children from grade 4 to 9 to pick up any new area they are interested in, and they want to build their strengths in, right, during that time. And they are free to pick up anything. It can even be about learning a new style of painting or having a pizza oven, as I told you, right?
Yes.
All they need to do is they need to follow a process. Why did they pick this up? What effort are they going to make in this, right? What are they going to create at the end of it? That is presentable, that is transferable as a skill. So they have to teach that skill at the end. So personal project is essentially driven by the child. The teacher only acts as a mentor for the process. That's it. The teacher does not transfer any knowledge on that. And likewise, it cannot even become the project of the parent. It has to be. You have to scaffold the child so that he's able to discover something of his own, right? Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any
Next
other?
question is from Gina ma'am. Can you please share some practices that help students to include self-discipline? Sorry, inculcate self-discipline.
So personal learning journey is a great practice. In the personal learning journey, because you write what are you struggling with, what are the habits that you're struggling with. It can be screen time, it can be substance, it can be anything, right? It can be food, that I'm so attracted to junk food that I don't like the healthy food. It could be anything, right? It could be problem of sleep. So you're supposed to write your own, what do you wish to do and what efforts are you going to make in that. And this form is to be reviewed in the teacher's bubble time with the child. Bubble time is that moment the teacher has with the child to go through how, it's not a, technically it is supposed to be a catch up on check-in on how child is, but PLG can be used during that time for the teacher to reinforce that are we doing what we wanted to do, right? So self-discipline is a reflective process. You know that nobody can teach self-discipline. It can only come in if we reflect and reflect.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Nagarani ma'am, please ask your question.
Okay, so my question is that, like sir said, no, that they have a personal projects. So just wanted to ask, apart from this, do they have a particular syllabus to be completed, or how the amalgamation of all the other subjects come into the picture there? So is a one teacher is only assigning like 10 students, or she's taking care of all 20 students, 30 students in that particular class? So how all these things are managed? I mean, that is a big question here.
So personal projects don't interfere with academics. Academic classes go on, and personal project is something the child does in his or her own space, which basically means, yes, it is something that happens at home. It is something that happens during the summer break, and it is something that for which, when they come back for the check-in, you may have to devote a time, right? So what we have done in our timetable is we always have round the year a slot once in a week, which is called purpose. And purpose basically is spent then on discussions around personal projects in the first 3 months of the year. In the second 3 months of the year, it is spent on discussing community projects, okay? And in the final 3 months of the year, it is spent on personal life journey. So we spent purpose, we have a slot in our timetable, which is a catch-up time for these things, but the work behind these happens at home.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, how do you assess the personal projects?
Again, there is a lot of ways to assess it, and one doesn't need to really assess always. Why don't we have a creative space where children can just do whatever? What is the need to benchmark them? At least this space we don't formally assess. We don't give them any grades, any marks, any thing. We just give them comments on what could they do better. So the teachers just write some reflective comments in their midterm reports on how they appreciated the work, and they actually compliment the child. And finally, they would say, yeah, maybe the time management could have been an issue in this, or maybe the project, the skill that you presented, you could have used this to present, right? So something like that. But this is just about improving or finessing, the child's skill. But it is a non-judgmental space.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, sir. Gunjan ma'am, please ask your question.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, I have a question based on the benchmark. Do we have any criteria for the foundational classes, or do we set any criteria like a child is supposed to set a benchmark for their personal or academics, especially for grade 3, 4, 5? Do we set such criteria for those students, especially for the benchmarks?
We don't set anything, and we should not set anything, because then you're only setting your own world. And again, we are facilitators, not taskmasters, right? So, what we need to do is we need to consult the child. So in the early years, you have to consult what is appropriate developmentally. So developmentally, if you feel by this age, this is what the child should be doing. He should be washing his hands. He should be doing this. Should be sitting in the right posture. Whatever. Those rubrics are always there, and they must be there with you as well. You must have your progress reports on that. All of that is fine, right? But in terms of academic benchmarks, obviously, each subject has rubrics, right? Being able to form sentence, being able to do whatever, being able to use the right subject-verb agreement and all of that. These are there in all classrooms. Nobody's sacrificing that. I'm not saying that you sacrifice that. I'm saying you definitely will be reporting, on that what has your assessment been on this. Our assessment reports have about 30-40 rubrics in each subject. Okay, but they have but those comments are, he does this, he does that, and the benchmark is, does he do it most of the time or does he not do it most of the time? So in the early classrooms, we don't give marks like that. We either put a check, does it most of the time or does not do most of the time, right? So that skill is clear, that has that skill of creating a long essay, has that skill of forming sentences, has that formed or not, right? Is the child able to read, or is the child able to read some, say 100 words in under a minute? All that is done, yeah. So, but we don't give any, that this is my goal for the child, that this is the benchmark to achieve.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now, yeah, Spriti ma'am, please go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Evening.
Wonderful session, sir. Sir, as we are talking about skills, so I just wanted to ask that looking back at the students who truly thrive in the long run, so what is that one? Am I audible, sir?
Who truly thrive in the long run.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So what is that one specific mindset, or we can say any invisible skill that you wish that we spend more time cultivating in the classroom?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is grit. If you can cultivate grit, I think a lot of averagers, can surprise you. If they can develop the grit of doing work. The grit can come by way of projects, by way of individual work, following through the commitments, right? So that is the only thing we need to cultivate. And when Sri Aurobindo said it's about finessing or fine-tuning those faculties or instruments, that's what he also probably means, right? That the knowledge is innate, we just need to finesse the instrument.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Smriti, sir. Now, if anybody could share a star mark from this session, any star from this session, your takeaway from this session, please quickly go ahead.
We can use the chat box, maybe one thing that you take away.
Yeah,
from
we can
this.
use chat box. Yes.
Yes, Prabha ma'am.
Creative interaction.
Okay, creative interaction is your takeaway from this session. Okay, wonderful. Anybody else? Quick, please be quick. Purpose project and bubble time. Okay. Oh. Wow. Creative projects done by the students, the concept, passion project, bubble time, happiness. Okay. Wow. Teachers as facilitators, great. Okay, wow. Thank you so much, teachers. That's great. Exploring passion project and cultivating great. Okay, we are facilitators and not task masters. That's true. Personal Next, bubble time, teachers as facilitators. Finding your Prakriti. Good. My takeaways is purpose project. Okay. Bubble time, discovering one's own swabhav. Learning naturally. Great, great. Thank you so much, teachers. Thank you. Yes, yes. Very nice. I'm very happy. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Nagarani ma'am.
Yeah, no, I was just
Nagarani
saying
ma'am.
if at 6 p.m. you are able to generate these takeaways, I'm glad. Thank you, and wish you all a great week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This was like indeed a great session and so many takeaways from this session. Thank you so much for joining us and thank you so much for taking this session, sir.
Thank you. No, my pleasure.
Okay. Teachers, yeah, Nagarani ma'am, please go ahead.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I would just I'm here to just express a vote of thanks for behalf of the management, faculty, and all the participants. So it was an enlightening session, which is which is followed on the Sir Aurobindo Ghosh philosophy of an integral education as practiced in Prakriti schools. We were able to see that the teachers are not only as an instrument. I mean, they nothing can be taught. That is how the entire session started. It moved on to teachers as an instrument to facilitate the change, which helped us here to revision our own, to revise our own vision for the learnings here. And what struck most was when you said everything has to be taught from concrete to complex. Let them familiarize with the surroundings that they have and then go to something that is, more complex. And apart from that, which stood out, finding our own self and having a genuine connections with the students. So when you have that genuine connection with the students, they would come out to you and they would tell the stories to you, and that is how the personal projects could be built upon. So that is this the entire session was revolving around the connections. And here in DPS as well, we have a lot of projects which do inculcate these values on a personal level. Like we have MLVs, we have learning expedition, which are talking about the surroundings which are around us, and then moving it to some complex areas around the world. So I extend my sincere vote of thanks and gratitude towards you. And this was a very inspiring session for all of us. And we just went ahead and we just saw how and what was the reason for all of us to choose the teaching as our profession. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So do well. Yeah. May you all be happy. Okay.
Thank you, Rahul, for
Thanks
doing
a
this
lot.
at a very, very short notice and absolutely brilliant. I'm sure there's so much engagement like you see on a Saturday with someone like you coming in. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, teachers, for joining in. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nagarani ma'am. Thank you, Siddharth sir. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Feedback form I will mail you all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye, Sonali, ma'am.
Bye, Sonali, ma'am.